Welcome back to the Suraj Podcast. Today we're going to be starting on a new set of stories. We're continuing in the linear fashion following how the author Kavi Santokh Singh has written the Guru Suraj Prakash Granth. But these set of stories that are going to come now deal with Guru Hargobind's third battle. So Guru Hargobind, previously, we have not covered these stories. How we are going to run the Suraj Podcast is, from this point, we are going to continue on linearly until Guru Hargobind passes away. And then when that happens, then we'll cycle back to the start of Guru Hargobind's life and then cover from those stories up to where I started initially. So like I said before, there has already been two major battles that Guru Hargobind has fought. And I'll provide just a quick overview here before we start the preparation for the third battle. So the first battle was, they called the Battle of Amritsar. So there's a famous story about Guru Hargobind. At that point, he was stationed in Amritsar at the Akal Takht, and he went out maybe 10-15 kilometers outside of Amritsar to hunt. So his hunting camp was west of Amritsar, and Shah Jahan's hunting camp set off the same day, and they went east from Lahore. So when they were both hunting, they were probably only 4 kilometers, maybe 3 to 4 kilometers away from each other at that point. They were very close to each other, but they didn't know that each other was in that area. So somebody had come from a foreign land, it talks about, and was giving Shah Jahan, the emperor, this really fancy falcon, hawk. And Shah Jahan wanted to see this in action, and he said, all right, let's see this hawk hunt. And he commanded the guy who was bringing the hawk, he said, all right, let it fly. So they let the hawk loose, but the hawk had just previously eaten. So he was satisfied, he didn't want to hunt anymore. So he just kind of flew out. He was chasing some bird. He really didn't have his heart set on it. So he kind of just flew away, this hawk did. And it ended up flying east towards where Guru Hargobind's camp was. So the Sikhs saw this hawk flying in the air, and they, in the manner of which they catch hawks, they brought it down and they presented it to Guru Hargobind, saying that, look at this amazing hawk that we found. We're presenting it to you now as a gift. So Guru Hargobind is looking at this hawk and saying, wow, this is an amazing falcon here. This is probably from some foreign land. Now that we have it here, let's never give this away. And emissaries from the emperor were sent to find this hawk. At that point, Shah Jahan had returned to Lahore. But these emissaries came and they saw the camp of the Guru, and they approached the Sikhs and Guru Hargobind, saying that, oh wait, there's that hawk that we've been looking for. You have to give that to us. And Guru Hargobind and the Sikhs said, hey, we saw this hawk flying in the air. We brought it down, and this is our hawk. What are you talking about? This is not your hawk. And there was an argument there, actually, in a funny point out of that, and this is written in the text here. The emissaries say to Guru Hargobind, oh, you're basically just talking crap because you just drink bhang all day. You drink cannabis all day. It's a funny line they throw in. And you do see references to Guru Hargobind drinking cannabis in the Guru Suraj Prakash, the text that we were looking at. Yeah, I thought that was just a funny point that they throw out there. And Guru Hargobind and the Sikhs say that, don't talk like this, basically, and we'll basically kill you where you stand if you chat shit like this. And at that point, the emissaries get scared and they run away. And when Guru Hargobind then gets back to Amritsar, he realizes, they find out from messengers that Shah Jahan has sent a force. So at that point, Guru Hargobind with his warriors there, Pandit Khan was a famous warrior, Bidhi Chand, they make a decision that it's not right for them to fight within the confines, within the complex of Darbar Sahib Amritsar. So they leave and they fight about 2 kilometers outside of that range. And a battle is fought there. It ends off with Guru Hargobind in a duel with the general of the force. His name is Mukhlis Khan, and they get into this duel. Actually, it's very vivid the way Santokh Singh describes how Guru Hargobind ends up killing Mukhlis Khan. What happens is they both have a sword and a shield. Guru Hargobind has like a very wide tega. Tega is a curved blade. It's about 4 fingers in width or more. And the Mughal general, he does a strike coming from upwards down, which would probably strike across the chest of the Guru. And Guru Hargobind blocks it with a shield, which is in his left hand. So he holds his right hand up, the general's right hand with the sword in it, and then he draws Guru Hargobind takes his sword and cuts laterally, like across, horizontally, and basically cuts him from the armpit, from one armpit to the other armpit. So basically his shoulders, his neck, and his head fall on one side, and the body underneath falls on another. And the way Santokh Singh describes it is as if like a bar of soap is just broken in 2 pieces. That's how clean the cut was. So that's how that battle ended. And the second battle, the battle of Rohilla, that battle started when Guru Hargobind left Amritsar, and they ended up in this village called Rohilla. The Sikhs ended up in an argument with the village leader, and they ended up killing him, throwing him down a river. And the result of that is his son, Ratan Chand was his name. He then went to a general of the Mughal army. He also went to the son of Chandu. So Chandu is a very famed enemy of Guru Arjan Dev Ji, and actually was the main reason why, according to the Guru Suraj Prakash text, that Guru Arjan Dev Ji was eventually executed by Shah Jahan. So Chandu was the one who was telling the emperor that this should be done. So Chandu ends up getting killed at some point through Guru Hargobind and the Sikhs. So his son is obviously very upset as well. His name is Karam Chand. So Ratan Chand and Karam Chand, both of their fathers have been killed by Sikhs. They go now to this Mughal general, and they convince him to send an army, saying that Guru Hargobind has come to this village. He's causing unrest. We need to punish him. What happens there is there's a big battle. The number of soldiers on the Mughal side is way more than the Sikhs, and it ends. I'll just give you a brief summary of how it ends. In the evening time, when most of the battle has been finished, and most of the army is now slowly retreating back to their camps, the Sikhs actually kind of lose Guru Hargobind. They don't know where he goes exactly. And he goes off to the side, and then he's actually attacked by the general of the army, Abdul Khan, Ratan Chand, and Karam Chand. So it's basically a 3-on-1 skirmish that happens here. And the first person that comes to Guru Hargobind does a strike, and then Guru Hargobind takes his shield, knocks him out with the shield. So he's laying on the ground, and this is Chandu's son, Karam Chand. So he's knocked out, he's on the ground. Ratan Chand then comes up with a sword as well, and they talk about how Guru Hargobind, from his waist, he has his pistol attached, and he just quickly shoots his pistol. So that suggests, and actually it mentions in the text, that specific pistol a Sikh has brought from a foreign land. So it was a very fancy pistol at that time. In India, the type of pistols that you would have at that point were generally matchlocks, meaning that there would be this match, and you would have to, it's a kind of a longer process to load the gun and shoot the gun off. But you also had at that point it wasn't very well. It wasn't very widely available in India at that point, but flintlock pistols, very much more advanced in technology. And all of this information about pistols, I think Ranjit Singh from England, the collector who was able to provide me with this information. So the text suggests that this was actually a flintlock pistol, which would have been really rare at that point in India. But the text does suggest that this had been brought from a foreign land, and it was a very expensive pistol. So he quickly shoots off this pistol, and it hits Ratan Chand in the chest, and he falls face forward, and there's blood, just pouring out of his chest, and then he just dies there quickly. Abdul Khan then comes, and Abdul Khan was a very skilled warrior. So that duel takes a little bit of time here. Both are just positioning themselves. They're seeing where to fight. Guru Hargobind then has a sword. He puts his shield away because the other person doesn't have a shield. And Guru Hargobind avoids a few strikes. Then he does he signals that he's going to strike low with his sword. So Abdul Khan then kind of bends forward, and when he bends forward, he kind of puts his neck a little bit forward. And at that point, instead of striking low, Guru Hargobind then just chops his neck off from up top. So he falls down. At that point, Karam Chand, Chandu's son, he awakes from his concussion that he just got from the shield. And he's thinking, this is the time now to get my revenge, because Guru Hargobind killed my father, Chandu. So he now comes, and now he does a strike. His strike with his sword, remember now Guru Hargobind doesn't have a shield at this point. Guru Hargobind quickly turns and parries the first strike with his sword. So he uses the back edge of the blade and then kind of parries the blade across. He does another strike, Karam Chand does another strike, and it breaks Guru Hargobind's sword. Both swords actually break. So they're both standing there without any swords. And Guru Hargobind then thinks, he says, okay, I have Qatar, this punch dagger, in my waistband, my kamakasa. I could easily just take it out and just finish him right here. And then he says, but he doesn't have a weapon. So you know what? It would be better if I just killed him with my hands. And he just grabs Karam Chand, and it just talks about how he just twists and bends and breaks like basically every joint of this guy's body. It was as if, they say, Santokh Singh says, it was as if an elephant had just grabbed this small like rabbit with its trunk and just squeezing it. And eventually then Guru Hargobind, after just breaking all these joints of Karam Chand, picks him up and then throws him down head first on the ground, and his head just splits open. Guru Hargobind after this sits down in this tired state, and it's basically evening time, so it's just getting dark. And he just sits down in the dark and kind of meditates on this and says, and he's just thinking about all that had happened, the massive battle, the Sikhs that were passed, the people that he killed there. Bidhi Chand and the other Sikhs are quite worried for the Guru. It's dark now, and they can't find him, so they're wondering what happened to the Guru. So they're looking all around. They have like this torch that they have, and they're trying to see maybe if he's over here, if he's in a pile of bodies or what. They find him just sitting amongst these 3 dead bodies there. And in a very famous line, Guru Hargobind then looks at Bidhi Chand and says, all these years of practice that we've done in terms of building an army, practicing Shastra Vidya, like the science of weapons and martial arts and all this, today it has proved its use. Today it has become useful to us. And Guru Hargobind then returns to the camp with Bidhi Chand and the Sikhs, and the battle basically at that point, when the other army realizes that all their commanders are died, they stop fighting and the victory is won there. So those are the 2 original stories, the first 2 battles of Guru Hargobind. Now we are starting with the 3rd battle. And chapter 38, where we're starting off here, begins with Bidhi Chand, who in the previous chapter was telling the congregation of his exploits there in the Lahore fort in stealing these horses. So chapter 38 starts off and everybody's talking about Bidhi Chand and saying, man, what a great job this guy has done in stealing these horses, and nobody's as smart as Bidhi Chand. Then Bidhi Chand says, he reminds the Guru that he had sinned, if it were, by riding on the Guru's horse, and he felt that demanded an apology and some type of punishment. So he donates 5 rupees to make prasad for the congregation. And then Guru Hargobind says, what we'll do is we'll set up a massive langar, a massive communal kitchen here, and feed all the residents that reside in this area. So they go ahead and do this. They set it all up, and thousands of people come to eat. After everybody eats, Bidhi Chand then says to the Guru, it's not going to be very long now before the forces of Shah Jahan come to battle us, because of what had happened in Lahore with the stealing of horses. So Bidhi Chand says it's best that we sit down and start thinking about battle plans here. Guru Hargobind asked Rai Jodh, who resides in that area. If you remember from the previous chapter, Guru Hargobind has come to Rai Jodh's village at his request. So Guru Hargobind asked Rai Jodh, okay, you're from this area, what should we do here? What are the good positions to take up? What is the strategy best that we can utilize in this situation? So Rai Jodh first says, what we can do is, there's a lot of jungle in this area, there's a lot of forests. We can just go into these forests, find a pond that we could sustain ourselves on with water, and just ride this out. We can lay low for a while, they'll send the forces, they won't find us, and then we will come out when they leave. Guru Hargobind listens to this and says, that's a terrible plan. I don't like that plan. The weapons, the horses, the army that we keep, they only become worthwhile, useful, or fruitful if we actually use them. Basically, he's saying this is not just for show here. It would be proper for us to face them head on. So given that, what's your plan if we take that approach? So then Rai Jodh says, you know what, that's all right, that's wicked. What we can do is we can travel about 4 to 5 maybe actually the measurement they use in the text is ko, but that's about 2 kilometers. So he says 4 to 5 ko, so that would be about 8 to 10 kilometers from here south, and there's a pond. We can set up camp there such that our forces have control of the water supply of that area, because water supplies in those areas, in the area that there are, it's quite barren. So if they send their forces there, first of all, we'll tire them out and they won't have water supply, so they won't be able to sustain a longer pitched battle. And secondly, we can surprise them from the barren land, the forests that are there as well. And basically as we can scare them out and make them run away, we can steal their horses, their weaponry, and then arm ourselves up even more. So Guru Hargobind listens to this and says, that's amazing, all right, this is what we're going to do. And then Rai Jodh begins to count up his soldiers. So he has about 1,000 soldiers there that are divided. Half of them are like servants of him. He is the main leader of that area. So he has a bit of an army with him as well. So he has a large family that are all warriors, and he also has paid mercenaries that will fight for him as well. So they are about 1,000. And when they create this plan, then they send out a message to the local people who are making weapons and ammunition. So the end of the chapter talks about how the people who are making the ammunition, they start making thousands of rounds of ammunition, they start making swords and shields, and then to the warriors that were not properly geared up in terms of weaponry, the community, Guru Hargobind and Rai Jodh, started giving out the weapons and arming people up. It's quite a vivid description of the different types of spears and swords from Saf is like a straight sword. Sarohi is a type of sword that's about 3.5 foot long and a little bend. So you have all these different types of swords and spears, shields, different type of guns, which get talked about at the end of this chapter. And they basically, this is a description of them all getting armed up. And in the next chapter, where we're going to pick up next time, they talk about how they leave then from that village of Kangur down to the point where they will establish battle formations and get ready for the attack.
शरण परेगा ते तरेगा गज गज करा जावे गुरु हरगोबिंद साहब जे मन भावे निहाल हो जावे सत श्री